a description of initiation into hero cult by Pausanias. And we'll divide this into two parts. Part one will go from 9:39:5 up to 9:39:11. And then part two will be from 9:39:11 onward. So we find out that this cult hero has an oracle called a manteon, that is to say a place where things from the other world can be revealed to the initiates. And the talk is very much about descending to down there, wherever it is that Trophonios, the cult hero, is. And the word for descending, katienai, and its variations happens over and over and over again. And it'll become very clear that it's a taboo expression for covering something where you don't want to go into more detail. And then there's our word, oikēma, a variation on oikos, which I've been translating as dwelling, and which refers to the deeper meaning of oikos, as opposed to the superficial meaning, which is house. And my goodness, there are a lot of taboo references to superhuman forces that preside at this dwelling of the cult hero Trophonios. Just for starters, there's the agathos daimon. We never really get to find out who this good daimon is, and whether maybe it's a reference to the cult hero himself in some special phase, or whether it's to some overarching principle that's presiding over the place. Let's just go on. And then there's the partner of agathos daimon, alēthēs, equally mysterious. One thing I do want to emphasize is that when the worshipper decides to consult the oracle or the spirit of the cult hero by going down, by making the descent with a capital D, he has to sacrifice to this hero. And the sacrifice takes the form of the slaughtering of rams. And it's very interesting that the sacrifice results in, of course, all sorts of meat that can actually be consumed by the sacrificer and those who are together with the sacrificer. So that shows you something very interesting about practices of worshiping cult heroes, that when you sacrifice to them, it does involve killing of sacrificial animals. It does involve not just dividing up their meat and giving the hero some of it, but then eating the rest of it, but the whole procedure of cooking the meat and apportioning the portions and all of that, that's all part of the ritual complex, and every sacrificer has to engage in this. I'm also fascinated with the fact that some of the Olympian gods that we know well from Homeric poetry are definitely not Olympian looking here. For example, Hera, if she's going to be called Hera the charioteer, the Heniochos, this is not the way we ordinarily think of Hera in Homeric poetry. So all sorts of things are going on here. And I like the fact that not only is there a great deal of worry about how to express the process of going down and consulting, but there's also a lot of worry about how the hero will receive the sacrificer. And the word is dechestai. And so you really have to have prophecies if you descend. I'm looking at 9:39:6. You have to have prophecies to find out whether Trophonios, the cult hero, will have good intentions toward you. And the word is eumenes, having good intentions. And that word will be familiar to us when we read the Eumenides of Aeschylus, which is all about disembodied spirits, angry spirits, whether you can appease them and persuade them to have good intentions toward you. It's very, very ambiguous. It's like situations where, let's say you're a guest at a house and the host has some horrible dog that's very hostile, like a Doberman Pinscher that is rushing at you. And what do? Your reflex is to say, nice doggy, not that the Doberman Pinscher is nice. You want it to be nice.
So it's naming as a gesture.
Yes, totally. And then I love the way there's all this preparation for the descent and making sure that the entrails of the ram that you've sacrificed are signaling the right message. And when you descend, you have to have good hopes.
So that's like omens, right?
Yes, it's all about attitude, isn't it?
What do you mean attitude?
If you enter into a ritual with the wrong attitude, you're going to ruin the ritual and potentially ruin the cosmos. And therefore invite cosmic sanction. So you better get it right.
So you're not supposed to be in the right place. Everything depends on it?
Everything depends on it.
Every single step, too.
Every step. That's the mentality of ritual. And in some societies, some rituals are more closely monitored than others. So there's a wide variety of what kind of rules are followed in rituals. But you can see from this one that you better get it right. And so even the preparations involve washing and being anointed with olive oil and then being guided to the right place by two boys that are actually called Hermeses. Hermes, as we know, is the god who mediates between all oppositions of the universe.
Right. So he guides people.
And so he guides people in any transition. And so there it is. And then you even have to have drinks from two different fountains. And one of them is for remembering what you should remember, but the other is to forget what is not necessary to remember, which then gives you a sum total of what is memorable. Is to say, you shade over some things, you highlight other things, and therefore there's sort of two levels of memory. There's the final memory, which is forgetting some things in order to remember other things better.
Greg, I'm thinking about when you talk about the word for true.
Yes.
Is that what you have in mind?
Yes, and that's exactly what the mentality of true is. Alēthēs is things that are unforgettable. There's some things that are forgettable, but some things that are unforgettable, and that highlighting is the absolute truth. And even to say unforgettable is absolutizing. So that's the mentality you see here. And that's why you have to have first the water of forgetting and then the water of remembering. And then you have just the right mix of memory.